Hi everyone, my name is Tushar. Today I'm going to be taking you through the new homepage that Messari just launched. All the new features that we just built, I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of those, as well as the workflows that are now powerful and that make your use of the site a lot more powerful than it was before. So the first thing that you might notice is everything is now in just one screen. You no longer need to scroll down to look at more information or select tabs at the top to view this in different dimensions. And I really love this because it just means that I can use this as a second screen for crypto. I can keep this up on a second monitor or on one side of my monitor and just monitor everything that's happening in crypto at one time without having to scroll. So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is taking you through the way that I have this set up and the way that I like to look at the industry. But in the later half of the video, I'm also going to spend some time showing you how to customize it to your liking as well. So the first thing that you might notice is this large prices and charts module. And right now it's just taking a little bit of the screen, but I like to actually make it a lot bigger sometimes and just dive a little bit deeper. So right now we're looking at the top 100 assets by market cap. But it's very easy to switch between different selections here. So if you want to go look at your watch list or if you want to look at gainers or losers, that's very easy to do. But that was stuff that was supported before as well. Some of the new things that we now support are also going into sectors and ecosystems. And this is a very powerful grouping that we now support in Messari that makes it easier to understand the industry a lot more holistically than it was before. So one interaction that's possible here now, let's say that you want to just look at all gaming related tokens. That's one click away. Now we're looking at everything in crypto that's related to gaming. Or maybe you want to look at a particular ecosystem and you want to see everything that's been traded on Solana. And now that you can do that, this is sort of by market cap, and this is every asset that we support that has a Solana contract address. So this is now just in one place as well. A lot of the chart interactions are similar to what they were before. It's just a little bit nicer than it was before. So one thing you can do immediately is either look at a time series charts like we are doing right now, or switch over to a heat map to look at relative sizes. And this is especially nice when you look at like an ecosystem like Solana, for example, because you can see, okay, the native asset that really represents the largest part of this ecosystem, but then you can see all the other things that are happening in here as well. So going back to time series, we also now support, switching between price, volume, and market cap, between line, area, and candle, as well as linear, log, and percentage. These are just right at the top for you to be able to find them easily. And then you can also compare to other assets with a click of a button. So right now we're looking at Ethereum, but if you want to look at Ethereum versus, say, BNB, Solana, and let's say Bitcoin, you can just do that. Again, very easy to do, and you can see how they've performed over the last week, over the last 3 months, over the last year, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's go back to just looking at Ethereum. And this is very simple to do as well. Now, over here we have the market overview, and this shows you the top line numbers over the last 24 hours, as well as what they are right now. So you can see the total crypto market cap, it's about $2.8 trillion. It's down 0.75% over the last 24 hours. You can also see the total crypto spot volume. This is $42 billion over the last 24 hours, which is down about 33%. And then you can at a glance see Bitcoin dominance as well as Ethereum dominance. Now, these four components here, I have these set up in a particular way because this is just kind of like how I like to look at crypto. And the way that I like to look at it is immediately below this, I like to have the sectors. So this is a grouping of assets that we're seeing here. But now I can see easily which sectors have been outperforming others over the last 24 hours, right? So I can switch this also to be over the last month. And now I can easily see what's performed best over the last month. And it looks like AI has really had an uptick here, whereas things like blockchain infrastructure and DeFi have suffered quite a bit more, as well as blockchain services and NFTs. This probably isn't a surprise to anyone looking at this video, but it's very easy to be able to pick up on information like this. You can also click into this, right? So if you are looking at something like AI, but you're curious about which subsectors in AI have really outperformed, now we can look at this, and it looks like a lot of AI memes have outperformed, as well as maybe some geospatial networks and AI infrastructures. But what hasn't outperformed are things like decentralized AI, decentralized science, AI tooling, AI consumer. So you can go from a larger grouping to more and more granular. I find that to be very powerful. Here, I just keep track of all the new research that's come out. So it's a very easy thing to be just able to look at the latest research reports and be able to read them at a glance, or just listen to the project report as well if I don't have the bandwidth to read it completely. Mindshare is something that we now support, and it's relatively new. I really like looking at this in relation to market cap. So if we go back to looking at the top 100 assets here, one thing I really like to be able to do with this is see which assets are being surfaced in Mindshare that are not necessarily being surfaced in the market cap, right? So like which has outsized attention and what assets have narratives around them that might not be priced in. So you can look at this over different time periods. I like to keep it at 1 day to start with, and then you can see what kind of mind share it has across crypto as a whole, as well as the changes in mind share. And I often find changes to be more important than the overall mind share, but you can look at both here. So you can see right now BNB actually has a lot of mind share that it's gained over the last 24 hours, although its total mind share is not as large as, say, something like Solana or Bitcoin or ETH. You can also slice this by sectors and see which sectors are gaining mind share. But I like to have this here because I like to relate it to what the trending topics are. Now, trending topics are things that we aggregate. So these are the narratives that are driving crypto conversations. And you can see the top two things relate to BNB, which is why BNB has so much more mind share today than it did yesterday, right? So over the last 11 hours and over the last 9 hours, two things have happened with BNB to really start conversations. One is the Kraken launch. Kraken just supported BNB, as well as there's an ecosystem expansion and I believe like $100 million fund around this. And if you want to read more about it, you can just very quickly do that. I love to keep track of all the trending topics because I think that crypto is a very narrative driven industry, and this is really a high signal way of understanding what's happening. But if you want to look at, granular news instead, that's a click of a button away. And so if you want to change any of these components, maybe you want to look at news instead of topics, you can just do that here. And now we're looking at news, and you can look at curated news, you can look at all news, kind of however you want to do it. Other components that we support, and I'll be taking you through a few of these. One powerful one is the AI recap. Similarly, it uses our Copilot under the hood to look at all the sources of news and information around crypto and just give you a real-time recap of what's happening. So this is, again, a very powerful way to stay up to date with what's happening in crypto. You can also look at things like key developments. So this is from our Intel, and you can see exactly what's happening again real time. 19 minutes ago, it looks like there was a client release for Optimism. 22 minutes ago, there was something for the Adventure Layer. And you can also look at things like token unlocks. Maybe you want to see what's happening as far as unlocks. So today it looks like there's a unlock of Manta Network, which about 0.5% of circulating supply is getting released. So things that might affect price, I like to have up and center. I usually switch back and forth between this one and things like AI Recap. You can also look at things like fundraising. So if you're interested in what crypto entities are investing in or what rounds are happening, this is a very easy way to stay in touch with that as well. And you can quickly select into rounds or M&A or funds and just have that right in your main screen. If you want to look at the media landscape, that's also something that we support. So maybe you want to look at the videos and podcasts and exactly what's happening. And because this is such a podcast-driven industry as well, this can be a very powerful way to see what podcasts are happening, what assets are being talked about, and another dimension of narratives that are happening. So I'm going to take this component back to how I like to have it set up. But as you can see, there's a ton of different ways of looking at the industry. And now that we have a lot more support for these different views, you can set up this homepage to be exactly the way that you like it. and play around with different ways of setting it up so that you can look at different things that are happening and stay up to date in a lot more powerful way than you were before. Thanks for taking the time to look at this video.